LA Police Chief Willie Williams and two others, all directly involved in the cover-up of the firebombing of MOVE headquarters in Philadelphia in the 1980s, were supposed independent investigators in Waco, and not surprisingly recommended that federal law enforcement should receive their training from Special Forces military. This shouldn't be too surprising coming from the police chief of Los Angeles, where Daryl Gates formed the first SWAT team, where the term SWAT originally meant Special Weapons Assault Team, and where brutality has become commonplace. The military mindset begins at basic training for LAPD, who train just like the Marines in boot camp. Somehow fascism as a model for good behavior has become commonplace. Governor Zell Miller of Georgia has instituted boot camps for juvenile offenders, where young offenders can be adequately brainwashed to fit into the military mindset of the New World Order. Texas has decided to try the boot camp idea for its young offenders as well. They will endure hours of physical training and learn the defenses of nuclear, biological, and chemical warfare. Courses will include Air Force history, national security, the rules of combat, and how to salute. Are these young offenders the new cannon fodder for the New World Order? In Indiana, we found this minimum security state prison located in the middle of a U.S. Army Reserve training base, Camp Atterbury, just south of Indianapolis. These black vans at the prison drew our attention because people in Alaska had told us about dark vans driven by unidentified men in dark black uniforms, carrying machine guns, stopping people on the highways. We also found these Indiana Department of Corrections employees dressed in black uniforms who drove one of the dark vans. We found that these state facilities are being built in the middle of U.S. Army property, not just in Indiana, but other states, as people sent us pictures of such facilities in their states, such as this facility at Camp Pinckney in Brighton, Michigan. You see not only the black vans here, but curiously, there are reverse swastikas carved into each end of the roof. We also began to receive information about the Federal Emergency Management Agency known as FEMA, such as these pictures of a FEMA facility in Texas. FEMA operations are divided into 10 regions, as we were told in this letter from FEMA. The American public has been led to believe that FEMA is for disaster relief operations. Yet if we look at military manuals such as FM 4130, the U.S. Army Civil Affairs and Operations Manual, you'll find the details about who FEMA really is. The government doesn't want this information out because, as you can see, the manual says to destroy it by any means that will prevent its dissemination. The manual says that FEMA is the executive agency that serves as the point of contact for the USG for emergency management within the United States. Under Executive Order 12148 of July 20th, 1979, the President transferred all functions from the Civil Defense, Civil Preparedness agencies under the Department of Defense to FEMA. FEMA develops and implements overall concepts and policy guidance and directs activities for nationwide plans and preparedness for emergencies during peace and war. It also develops plans, systems, and capabilities for protection of the U.S. populace, government, and industry, and for stabilization of the economy in time of emergency. Again, we see from this military manual that FEMA is divided into 10 regions and is the command and control agency for all emergency planning. None of this sounds too sinister until you begin to find out what FEMA has done with 96% of their budget. FEMA has built prisons around the country, and they've also built underground facilities. It actually turns out that they are the key agency to implement a plan known as Operation Garden Plot, the plan to put American citizens in prison camps. Under Executive Order 12919, signed by Bill Clinton on June 3, 1993, presidential authority under a 1950s Defense Production Act was delegated to the Secretaries of Defense, Agriculture, Treasury, and Commerce to seize all civilian property for the government solely by declaring them necessary for national defense. It also gave the Director of FEMA the authority to implement FEMA plans during a national emergency. Most people don't realize that this country has been in a declared state of emergency since the Federal Emergency Act was enacted in 1933, which was the beginning of FEMA, and also gave presidents the authority to issue executive orders. Each president since then has issued an executive order declaring a state of national emergency. Bill Clinton has issued 3 such orders since he took office. Shown here is a FEMA facility in Denton, Texas, where you can see mile after mile of FEMA command and control trailers. These trailers are self-sustaining and contain electrical generators and communications equipment that can be moved out anywhere in the country to start a FEMA operations center. Several military manuals, such as these manuals, ranging from 1985 through 1994, speak of FEMA as the implementing agency for Operation Garden Plot, the plan to put American citizens in prison camps under military control. This 1994 Field Manual for Military Police speaks of Operation Garden Plot as a DoD civil disturbance plan that tells the military what they can and cannot do, and that they will operate under FEMA control. This is a FEMA facility in